Hey everyone, this is Scott from Forgot to Grow Up. Welcome to our Star Wars The Clone Wars Season 7 Episode 2 Thoughts video. I just finished watching the newest episode of The Clone Wars on Disney Plus, and I'm just going to be sharing my general thoughts on the episode. I will be getting into spoilers for this episode because it is only a 24-minute episode. This episode we see the team, we see Rex and Clone Force 99, and along with Anakin are going to go investigate the Distant Echo, the name of the name of the episode. They're going to investigate the mystery of whether Echo is really alive, or is this some kind of separatist trap or some kind of thing. So I really enjoyed this episode because I wasn't sure if they were going to immediately dive right into this or not. Sometimes Clone Wars likes to bounce around, but sometimes we get a couple episodes where they follow one storyline. So I like that we immediately jumped into this Echo thing. They didn't kind of leave it off for another thing. So I like that we immediately investigated. I like that at the beginning we see Rex is covering for Anakin while he's chatting with Padme, doing a little holo chat. And the little thing I noticed was that they did a funny little thing where they have Padme holding her belly at one point, even though I don't think she's in this timeline. I don't think she's told Anakin yet about her pregnancy, but I did think it was kind of funny. That was clearly the animators wanted to have that little bit of give you that vibe that she's she's already expecting. That was an interesting little thing. And then Obi-Wan, this is the fun part I found fun about this part was Rex covering for Anakin while he's having his little chat with his wifey, and Obi-Wan shows up and he's questioning Rex, and then we find out Obi-Wan knew all along what Anakin was doing. He's chatting with Padme, and I do love that thing that Anakin thinks he's being all sneaky but at the end of the day, Obi-Wan knows Anakin best, so or close to or is maybe arguably Padme probably knows him a little bit better, but you guys know what I mean. So I just kind of enjoyed that little bit. That's the only bit we get of Obi-Wan in this episode, which is a little sad for me. I love Obi-Wan, but this didn't really have anything to do with him for this episode. So we see the team, they go to a planet, and there's flying reptiles on the planet. That was cool. We see this cool little grapple scene where Hunter grapples onto one of the flying reptiles that so he grapples onto one of the reptiles that had grabbed Anakin, and then he does a cool little flying thing, which reminded me a little bit of the Mandalorian, the one thing that happened in the Mandalorian. So that's a little funny, especially since I know Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau were Making both of these around the same time. They talked about it in an episode of The Chef Show. That's Jon Favreau's Netflix cooking show. So that was just a kind of fun little scene to see, and kind of see the fun kind of little connection between those two. The fact that they both had this fun grappling scene, or grapple flying scene. So that was fun. We see this episode how it deals a lot with Rex having a lot of personal feelings involved with this being potentially being Echo that they're going to find, and that it's just possible he's alive. And he even says in a line at one point, he's lost a lot of brothers in this war, but he doesn't really ever let it affect him until he heard that he might have, that Echo might be alive. And so I like that we're kind of diving into that, into these characters, kind of just their psyche a little bit more, seeing that Rex is a little bit, different than the run-of-the-mill clone necessarily. It's hard. I don't mean to necessarily say that, but he's got just a little bit more he's questioning, what they're doing, the fact that, why, that he's lost so many brothers, and he has been so kind of not absent-minded, but he hasn't really given it much thought or let it weigh on him before, and now it seems to start weighing on him a bit. So I like that we're kind of investigating that, making Rex's character a little bit more complicated in that sense. So that was fun. I like seeing Rex and Anakin teaming up with Clone Force 99 in this episode, infiltrating the one base, taking a bunch of these Techno-Union droids, which were a little bit of a different design, a new design, I think. I don't want to necessarily say 100%, but I don't remember seeing them before in the Clone Wars. Definitely not in any of the movies. I'm fairly certain they haven't been in the movies before, but you never know. I might have missed it. Let me know in the comments below if you know if this was 100% a new droid that we saw, the Techno-Union's droids, that they were just chopping through, which was fun. I just like seeing those scenes. I like seeing the Clone Force 99 just wrecking stuff, and then seeing Anakin obviously just chopping down stuff. And it's one thing I always find funny is, Anakin will sometimes use the Force, but not always. Like at one point, there's just a whole room full of droids, and he Force pushes like half of them, but leaves the other half. And I'm like, you want to do those ones too? It's just a little fun, like, it's an interesting thing about the Force sometimes, a little I don't want to say inconsistent, but sometimes it can be a little like, well, how do you guys have an energy bar? Is this like the Force Awakens or the Force Unleashed game where you only got so much Force? I've always kind of justified it myself that way, but it would be kind of nice to, at the same time, I wouldn't want that much of a detail. Leave it ambiguous. I'm just making up stuff while I'm going along. But yeah, so then the end of this episode, again, spoilers if you made it this far. I don't know why I ruined the whole episode for you, but spoilers. At the end, they do end up finding Echo, and Echo is not in great shape. Obviously, we see that he's got like a hook hand and a couple like looking like a couple of mechanical legs potentially too. So, and he was in a stasis pod when they find him, and so he's not in really great shape. But they found him at least, so it'll be interesting to see if he is the Echo. I'm pretty sure he is. I don't think they're gonna try to do that kind of a double take on it, but it is still possible that he's some kind of, is he going to be like a sneaker agent, or is he, what I mean, is he going to be some kind of infiltration? Is he still a trap of some kind? It will be interesting to see if it's that, or if we just did get Echo back in. So, but it was still fun to, or not fun to see. It was great to see that though, and especially Rex, Rex being right in a sense. Rex not having to be disappointed. That would have broke my heart a little bit if they only had found, like at one point in this episode, I got the impression they might just find like Echo's kind of like mind in a computer potentially, and I was like, ooh, that I don't know how they'd play that, but I thought that might happen, and so I'm glad that for Rex's sake at least that they went with finding that Echo was alive. So I'm really curious to see next episode where we go with from there, finding out if we will find out what's happened to Echo over these past, I can't even say how many years. I can't remember which season which season we thought he died in. It might have been the first season. Was it first or second season? I can't remember. Let me know if you know in the comments below. But yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts on this episode. I'm curious for next week to see where we go from there. But what did you guys think of this latest episode of the Clone Wars? Did you like it? Did you not? Sure, let me know in the comments below. Thanks again for joining me today to subscribe to the channel, Feel Hardy, and have a good one.